Greetings and welcome to Conversation with Tony Mobley. Today on Conversation with Tony Mobley, I just want to share with you that this is episode 4. Yes, episode 4 of 2026. Today is January 28th. Conversations with Tony Mobley. This conversation uses the TV broadcast software Mimo Live. Conversation with Tony Mobley is produced by Claire Lopez Waterman. Our current team includes Laura Thompson, Zachary Sorensen, Mickey McAture, who is away now working on the Olympics. Thank you, sir, and thank you, team. Additional support is from JJ McKenna and Tamara Picca. ConversationWithTonyMobley.com this show is also being broadcast on our website, ConversationWithTonyMobley.com. We are using the Makana chat. It is courtesy of Alex Lindsay and 090. This is a question system which allows you to ask your question. Your question can be voted up and down, up or down, and you can use the YouTube chat if you choose not to use Makana. We started this year with theater professional and college Professor Jessica Lopez Barco. Then we had Ken Jordan, the importance of quality of using AI. Last week we had Roz McNulty, a digital magician, and fashion meets the future, an Apple Vision Pro evangelist. Now for today. Today we have Garry B. Jr., a FreeShow evangelist. And we're going to get right to it. Garry, thank you so much for being here with me today. And we're looking forward to having this conversation with you right now. So welcome,
Awesome.
Garry.
Thanks for having me. I feel very humbled by your previous guest list that you have going on. I'm probably the most out of place here of everybody, so I'm honored to be a part of it.
Well, we're going to get right into it because I'm expecting some church folk or houses of worship people to join in and try to figure out what FreeShow is. But before we go to what FreeShow is, the very first question is always, who is Garry B. Jr.?
That's a great question. I am a believer in Christ Jesus. I am a husband. I am a son. I am a media consultant. I'm a simple solutionist, and I love to solve problems. I love to find problems as well, and I love to serve the body of Christ. And so everything that I do is geared towards accomplishing that mission. And so I get to serve and help churches all over the world with FreeShow and other partnerships in that way. And so it's an exciting time to be around where we have so much technology to connect with so many different people so easily. And so I think you guys are on the cutting edge of having those conversations, and I'm just honored to be here.
Well, thank you again for being here. I'm just curious, what's the farthest way you've heard from a person participating in your show?
That's a very good question. I would need a map to distinguish that because some of the countries I don't even recognize, to be honest with you. But I just got an email from a brother from the Philippines because he said, hey, this particular FreeShow program has been a blessing for him, and the YouTube tutorials that I've made have helped him be able to equip and serve in his church. And then not too long before that, in the last couple of weeks, I got an email from a brother from India. I just got a message from someone from South Africa, just on YouTube. And like I said, each week we got people from all over the world. We got people from Canada. So it reaches across all the different skirts of the earth, I would say. Every direction, there are people that have embraced this technology and this program, and they just love what it can do. And I'm just there I love it with them. I'm a cohort with them in this and understanding how to make it work the best. And so I've shifted from being, I would say last year when we last talked, I was probably more of an intermediate user. And this year, I would say I've shifted into expert user, self-proclaimed, not necessarily anything official, but I like the idea of the FreeShow Evangelist idea too. So I'll take that for sure.
All right. How has your family shaped your journey or supported you in your endeavors?
Oh boy. Oh, look, I'm not allowed to talk about my wife too much tonight, but what I will say is that she is the one that is the behind the scenes for anything that you see on the camera right now. She helped make sure I was in focus before we got started. She's the one that she prays with me, prays for me. We pray together, and we just choose to serve God together. And so that's a big deal in terms of encouraging one another in the Lord and encouraging each other to walk in our purpose has been a big priority for us as a family, and we're going on this journey together to continue to produce and to create the things that God has put in our heart to do, and live with that mission in mind. I love to serve the body, and so does she. So we get to work together and walk together in so many different areas and arenas, and creating content and helping people build their legacy. My wife is excellent media or creative consultant, and so she talks to people to help them write their books and develop their brands and build their legacy. And so one of the things that I do with that is I partner alongside her with video and help tell those stories as best I can. And so we work together really well.
That's fantastic. Um, so, what is Free Show and who is it for?
That's a great question. I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to say FreeShow is the best presentation software that you can find, and it is completely free. And so this particular software was designed with the church in mind. And so it is a program that allows you to seamlessly integrate videos and graphics, scriptures and overlays and all these different things in one live service, while at the same time supporting an online audience as well, in terms of being able to send out all the content that you're putting on your screens in-house. It allows you to send that same content out to distribute on the web service that you prefer. So it doesn't support the live streaming. It actually just sends out the signal for whatever's going on in house. It gives you a online version of it with lower thirds and things like that that you can then send out whatever software that you use. I prefer OBS personally, so I do all of my live streams using FreeShow and OBS, and I go live on YouTube every Monday morning, early in the morning on in the East Coast at least. I guess it's early in the morning for the rest of America as well, but midday for the rest of my followers and friends over on the other side of the world. And so, and then I go live every Friday for Free Show Friday, and that's usually mid morning at about 11 o'clock. And so it is a awesome, awesome program that I believe anybody that does any type of presentation work, whether it's in person using a computer and you're at an event or you're at a church meeting, you're doing a sports game or sports and presentation or anything like that, it really is bar none my favorite presentation software that I've ever used.
I want to ask you why Free Show? Because there are other presentation software out there. The house of worship that I work with uses PowerPoint.
Hmm.
I have an affinity for Keynote.
Hmm.
There are others that are out there. Some of them, low cost or free as well.
Yeah.
So what attracted you to Free Show?
Well, I would say that FreeShow rivals the premier presentation software that churches use to date called ProPresenter, more closely than any software that is on the market. And the biggest difference is it can do 99.9% of everything ProPresenter does, but it does it completely free, right? So that literally just kind of puts it head and shoulders above any other software that you can pay for, because it allows you to integrate your scriptures, right? It allows you to have multiple stage or screen outputs, I should say. So some of those softwares that you can get that are free or low cost, which is great for the body of Christ. FreeShow can do all the things that those programs can do, and probably even more so. So it can more seamlessly integrate your different outputs and screens, so you can have a stage or a confidence monitor for your musicians and pastors and leaders to have a way to see their upcoming text or a timer or a countdown or whatnot, along with showing the audience, motion graphics and scriptures real time, and you can make those adjustments on the fly. And you can add any type of media that you want to, whether it's a video, whether it's a photo, a graphic, And it even integrates YouTube video content. So you can take and share a share link and put it into the program, and it'll automatically integrate it into your program in terms of a project. And so those capabilities are some of the things that to me make it stand out the most. They just came out with an update that allows you to use the program. And it's because it's not a web-based program, so it's something that you install on your computer. A lot of other competitors or other programs out there. I'm not going to call them competitors because they all serve the body of Christ. So it's not a competition. It's just a matter of what works best for you and what's most feasible for your ministry, your organization. And so they just came out with an update that allows you to sync between your computers, so you can actually sync up all the content from one computer to the next. So if you're we just had a storm sweep through America. You could have that content. You can work on it from home and have it ready for Sunday service from the comforts of your home. And when you get to church, that content is already there loaded up. And so that's something that's really cool. And you also have the flexibility of controlling the whole show from your phone while you're there in terms of, or a tablet or another computer in that same space on the same Wi-Fi network. You can set up a little remote control option and control the whole thing in the palm of your hand without any special apps or anything like that needed. And it's, like I said, it's just so many different features. I can go on and probably talk about it for another 2 hours and never repeat one feature. But those are some of the things to me that make it really stand out from everywhere else and everyone else.
Before I go to the next question, I want to appeal to those who are watching. This is a unique opportunity to have a conversation with Mr. Garry B. Jr. He does his YouTube show every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. It is a great show. I've had an opportunity to join it on several occasions, and sometimes I ask some questions just to create some conversation. And Garry doesn't mind me asking my questions.
Not at
So
all.
this is a great opportunity. Please ask your questions in Mukana. If you don't want to ask it in Mukana, ask it in the YouTube chat. This is a great opportunity. We're only here for an hour, so please put your questions in. The next question is what does a congregation need in order to be able to run a free show?
That's a great question. So, at a very basic level, they will need a computer, right? It could be an Apple computer, it could be a Windows computer, it could even be a Linux computer. So there's no discrimination on the type of operating system they would have. Um, I'm trying to think about, are there any limitations on system requirements? And I don't even think there are system requirement limitations. You would just be limited. If you do have a significantly older system, you won't be able to get some of the latest versions of it. But if you have a moderate system, you'll be able to get the latest version and it'll work seamlessly on both or all three of those different type of operating systems. The next thing I would say that you would need at a bare minimum is an actual HDMI cable to connect to another screen, right? A lot of ministries will use TVs. Like, I got a 55-inch TV here. Some of them use 70-inch or 100-inch TVs or whatever it is, and have those posted on the wall usually, or on a stand or something along that line. You could even use a projector screen and a projector in terms of being able to have a separate output is the most important part of this program. Now, if you don't, let's say you have a virtual meeting, right? I just had a virtual meeting last night, Bible study with young men, and I just had my laptop and a camera, and I used Zoom to have that meeting. And I just had everything going. And I actually played and showed scriptures. We read them together I showed them from FreeShow into Zoom. And so you don't have to have a lot. It just depends. If it's virtual, you just need a computer. If it's in person, in-house, you definitely need another monitor to output that signal with the HDMI cable at the very minimum. But you can do all kinds of cool things and add cameras in and all that kind of stuff as well. And so that would be the starting point. And if you have that, there are a bunch of templates that are already pre-made in the program for templates for overlays and all kinds of fun stuff there. Even online links to get backdrops and images and things like that that you can use. You don't have to bring any of that to the table. But if you do have your own special motion graphic backgrounds or special, flyers or anything like that, all those can work seamlessly with the program. Just a simple drag and drop. And so I think that's something that is a great question to consider. What does it take? And I think if you are using any other program to date, right, to present in your house of worship, you don't need anything additional if you already are presenting from that computer. You just need to download the program. You can do that at freeshow.app. So you can go to freeshow.app today and download the program. As long as you have a computer, you'll be good to go.
What computer are you using?
I typically use a MacBook Pro 16 inch. So it's an M1 Pro. So it's a fairly older computer now. It's probably about 5 years old when I think about it. And that's what I've been using now for probably the last 3 or 4, maybe 3 years or so. And then before that, I was using a MacBook Air. But for FreeShow, I've only used this computer. I've only used the MacBook Pro 16 inch. And so I do have other computers that I do use it on the MacBook Air from time to time. That's my wife's computer. And then also we have a Mac Mini that we use it on as well. That's an M4. But I also have a test computer that's a Windows computer that it works fine on. I think it's a i7 maybe. I'm not sure what the operating systems are or the processors on Windows as well as I am with Apple. But yeah, I've tested it out on a number of different devices.
Interesting. And so the interface, let's go to the next question. Can you speak
Okay.
to the push and pull between in-person and virtual worship services? Can two camps come together?
The push and pull. I'll speak to it from a free show perspective, and then we can dialogue even more from other perspectives. But one of the things that I like about free show when it comes to a media support is that it allows you to seamlessly have one person control the lyrics and the scriptures and things like that from one computer, and they can send it out in a number of different ways. So they can send it out for in-house, but that same content, they can have another output that formats it automatically for it to go to the live stream in the lower thirds on top of a video. And so when it comes to using Free Show, it's really no compromise. There's no compromise that you have to have. So there's no push and pull in that. It's just a matter of making sure you have a steady internet connection to support it. And it doesn't have to be super fast. It just has to be steady. It has to be consistent, obviously, if you're going to be streaming live and things like that. But I would say that's the simplicity of it all, that it works really well on both platforms. That if we look at them separately, and you say, okay, well, what's the difference? Because you say push and pull, I'll kind of lean towards you, Tony, for any feedback on what that means to you. But when I hear that, I think about, are there any compromises or challenges that come with trying to do one or the other, or doing them both at the same time? And I would say the biggest challenge for me when it comes to doing virtual meetings is I just don't get to um, give people a hug physically. It's like I can't see them and touch them, but at the same time, I get to connect with them no matter where they are, right? So that's a big benefit. Like I said, even doing YouTube, that's a virtual thing. And I get to talk with brothers and sisters in Kenya and New Jersey, right? I've never been to New Jersey, but I got somebody that joins in from Jersey Shore every week. And I got some folks that jump in from other countries in Indonesia and India, and the developer of Free Show is from Norway, and so he jumps on Free Show Friday from time to time. And so I think that's the biggest benefit of doing virtual, that you have limitless access to people everywhere. When you're in-house, it's isolated to the people that can conveniently or inconveniently get to your space and get to your house of worship. And so on a broader scale, it limits the amount of people that you can access, but it gives you a deeper connection with those people, generally speaking, right? Because you can, like I said, you can give them a hug, you can give them a high five, you can talk to them one-on-one, you can spend time praying with them, and everybody else can still be doing whatever they're doing. Whereas when it's virtual, that's not as easy to accomplish. So those are my thoughts on
I,
it.
I think the push and pull that Clark was mentioning,
Hmm.
what is that it's difficult to do both well. And
Hmm.
when I say that, what I mean is, and maybe free show is different, and you can tell us whether or not it's
Yeah.
different. So it's good to it's you can be good enough in person, and
Yep.
you can be good enough virtually,
And we're talking
but good
media-wise,
enough
right?
media wise,
Yep.
but good
Yep.
enough does not work if you're trying to do them both at the same time. And part of the reason for that is the infrastructure
Hmm.
to from the infrastructure part, in terms of the equipment and things that you need in order to work properly. And the biggest piece for most hybrid worship services is the internet connection that
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they both have to use. And so if you're having a problem with um, someone coming in virtually and
Hmm.
they have issues with their internet, or is if the source of the stream, like for example Zoom, is not getting the proper connection, that's problematic. So it's
Absolutely.
very difficult to do both of them well. Now you may have had some success with being able to do both of them well, and so you can tell us about that. But
Yeah.
my experience has been that unless you have the proper infrastructure,
Hmm.
the hardware, the computer power, and the internet, Ethernet connection, if possible, wireless,
Absolutely.
unless you don't have a choice, um,
Absolutely.
then you're going to have problems. And so the other piece to it is that it's important when you're doing a hybrid worship service that you are intentional about engaging with those who are virtual. You have
Absolutely.
to have a person when there
Dedicated.
is an
Yeah.
in-person worship service going on. You
Yep.
have to have someone that is in the virtual space that is engaging with those who are virtual. Otherwise, they will feel like they are second-class citizens. And so there
I
must
completely
be a
agree.
person, a monitor, a group of people that are
Yeah.
engaging with those in virtually, so that it is a welcoming and holistic experience for all of the worshipers, whether they're in person or virtual. And so
And I would
that's
add to that too. Go ahead. Go ahead.
go. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say to add to that, I think it also has to do with engagement from the main stage, if so to say, right? From the pulpit, or if there's a worship team or whatever it is, to engage. Because like you said, you can have the person on the media team chatting with people and answering questions and making sure people are good to go. But it also takes it to the next level when the pastor or the speaker actually speaks not just to the folks that are in-house, but speaks to the folks and speaks to the camera, to those who are actually online and connected to the ministry that way, because like you said, it brings them in to feel like they're a part of the ministry, to feel like they're a part of the experience. Because I work with some churches, and the only reason most people are going to be online or virtual is because they may be bedridden, right? And so they want to make this available for them to where if they're unable to get out the home, or if it's unsafe for them to get out their home due to the weather conditions or whatever it may be, they want to make sure these folks are not left out of the experience. And then there's other ministries. Me and my wife, we love to watch online ministries ourselves in terms of ministries that are a little bit bigger, but we love to engage. But one of the things we love to see is that they'll have prayer time just with the folks online. They'll literally go on, and the leader speaks to the camera and talks to the people online and lets them put in information in chat, and they're looking at those questions or those prayer requests online, in person, I should say, on their phone or on the screen or wherever it is, and they call out the names of the people that are praying or that they need prayer for. And that's one of the powerful things about Free Show Friday. And anytime I go live, is that I get to talk with people real time and answer real questions at that time. That's something that I really enjoy, and I think that's a big part of that push and pull that you're talking about. That it is significant. It is significant to have that clarity. But from a media perspective, I believe Free Show is probably the most fluid way to support that. Okay, to support the flexibility of getting the signal, not the signal, but getting the stream content. Okay, so getting the lyrics on the in-house and on the virtual, right, on that virtual stage, on that virtual display. Free Show, I believe, does it so seamless that it's not going to cause any hiccups. And the biggest challenge you're going to have is, do you have that additional media person to help support the comments and the content that's going to be showing up there? But the actual feed is going to come through just fine. It's going to come through seamlessly from one person on one computer, two different places, in-house and online, real easily.
I was wondering if you could just talk a little bit about ProPresenter from the standpoint of, so that people can have an idea of what the difference is in terms of why free show is such an amazing thing when it's
Hmm.
free
Yeah.
compared to it being able to do 99% of what ProPresenter can do.
Yeah. And so for most houses of worship, they're not supporting 10,000 people, right? They're not supporting 5,000 people in attendance in a physical space. And I think in those situations, there may be some benefit to using a program like ProPresenter due to some of the features that FreeShow doesn't currently support in terms of outputs, but that's something that actually is in the works. I've had some conversations with the developer, and he said, hey, we're working to overcome those hurdles as well to where that's not going to be a hindrance for any church of any size. But generally speaking, when it comes to how ProPresenter functions and how it works, a lot of folks use it and they love it because it is an interface that allows you to see each slide in a very organized and simple way and navigate and add more complex automation to your setup and your slides that a lot of programs just don't support. They don't have any, there's no intention to have that type of flexibility. Whereas with FreeShow, that intention is built into it just as much as it is into ProPresenter. So a lot of the terms may be different, but the functionality is very much the same. And so a lot of those larger ministries, they may use something called MIDI, which is a wireless protocol, I would say, for lack of better words, and it allows them to trigger things from other devices to turn on the lights or change something in the setup or whatnot. And with FreeShow, you can do that same thing using the same protocol, using MIDI. And I've helped some churches set that up and on a number of different occasions, and it works just as simple and just as easy as it does in ProPresenter, and sometimes even simpler to them. From my perspective, at least, that's what I gather from it. The other cool thing about ProPresenter that people like is that they have the control to do real-time edits and real-time changes, right? And that functionality is built into FreeShow as well. I think the biggest challenge with ProPresenter for a lot of smaller churches is you have to pay for a license for each device you use it on, right? Each seat that you're using this particular program on, each computer, you've got to pay a separate fee for that particular computer. Whereas with FreeShow, you can download and install it on as many computers as you want to with no fees involved and no charges included with it. But you get much of that same flexibility, that real-time control. A lot of those, like the remote feature, for example, ProPresenter just came out with a remote function in terms of a special app that you have to download and sync up and all that stuff. And I've talked with a number of ProPresenter users, and they said it's not as reliable as they would like. And I've shown them how to use and do that same feature with FreeShow, and it's just simpler and it's a little bit more reliable from what I've experienced and what I've seen with other partners that I've talked with.
So I'm actually looking at the ProPresenter website, and
Sure.
I I'm looking at these prices, and I am a little bit. I somebody on my team tell me if it's okay for me to actually share this, because I don't want to get in any trouble,
Well, I don't want you in any
um,
trouble, Tony.
but I'm looking at the yearly price for it, and I can share. Okay, so I'm sharing the price. So this is the standard version here. This
Mhm.
is 289 a year, and there is a discount, so it's $59 less than normal. And yeah, and this is the campus version for 20 seats. The Let me go back to the standards. The standard, that's per seat. So if you have it on two computers, then that's almost um, $600 for
Yeah.
two computers in your house of worship. Now this 649 will give you 20 seats, but still that's kind of costly, in my opinion. So
Sure.
I, I I I would say that anybody who is considering using ProPresenter, take a look at FreeShow. And
I
if
agree.
someone has additional questions for you, how do they contact you?
They can go to GaryBJr.com and they can access my website, and on the front page they can hit an option that just says sign up for a consultation, and they can join me in a consultation and book a time that works for them on my calendar, and we can have a consultation. Those are usually 30 minutes per session. You can pay for more if you want to. In terms of some of my consultations usually go about an hour for most of my meetings that I have, but it's really up to the client that's going to sign up for it in terms of what they need. But I love what you said. If you're considering getting Pro Presenter, I would say get FreeShow first and set it up and see how it feels and see how you can make sure that the features that you want to sign up for in Pro Presenter are going to work well for your space, and that you can actually have the support media team or support team to actually support it, because that's one of the biggest challenges that most ministries face. Is you and I were talking about this a little bit earlier, in the sense that if you have a team of just a couple of people, it's easy to get burnt out and not have the full support you need. So when those folks take a break, nobody knows how to use the computer because the computer program is so complex. Everyone I've talked to that has been introduced to the way FreeShow works have said, hey, this is a lot easier than ProPresenter. It's like ProPresenter, but easier. And so that to me is a major, major benefit when it comes to the volunteers that you have serving and working with your ministry. And when you talk about that consultation, one of the things I do is I do training. And so if you have a media team that needs training on FreeShow, that's something that's a big part of that process that every church, I believe, needs to have. They need to have some type of continuous training that happens for their media team, so that those folks don't get burnt out, for one. But also, if they do end up having to move out of town or move away or whatever it is, you're not left high and dry as a ministry where nobody knows how to do anything to support the media needs for that ministry. And so I've come in and helped really kind of reinforce what media ministries need in different churches locally. And even I'm originally from Kansas City, so I work with churches still in Kansas City as well, and help make sure that they stay shored up and trained up and meeting with them as well.
Let's look at the other side of Free Show. So
Hmm.
we've talked exclusively about houses of worship use of it.
Yeah.
What are some other use cases for Free Show for people who are not houses of worship?
Sure. One of the cool things about FreeShow that I like about it is completely flexible. So you can literally, there's a number of different tabs right on the middle of the screen or middle of the program, and you can literally hide any of those tabs that you want to. So you don't need to have access things in there that you don't necessarily need. And you might do that for certain events. So you might need to take off the tab that says scriptures for that particular event. So you don't need to see that. So you can see everything else and get to those things a little bit more fluidly. You can take off the one that says overlays, maybe, because you're not needing to do any overlays. But I think anybody that's doing anything with sporting events and they want to keep scores, FreeShow has built-in functionality to allow you to change the score easily with the click of a button, or sync it up with other software like Backlinks or BitFocus Companion on a tablet or another computer, and control with just a simple button to say, okay, they just hit a three-pointer, let me hit the three-point button, and it'll automatically add 3 points to the score that's showing up at the bottom of the screen in that format, just like you would see on any NFL game or NBA game or anything like that. You can set that design up and plug in those variables to say, hey, this is where I want the scores to show up, and this is where I want the timer to show up for the quarter, and all that kind of stuff. You can manage all that completely seamlessly, I believe, using FreeShow. So I would say sporting events, any type of just of general meeting, business meetings. Me and my wife, we use it all the time for our vision meetings. I use it for online virtual meetings when I'm doing online ministry sometimes, but also just business meetings where I just need to show some slides or make some content or share a video or something along those lines. We use it. Some events you want to play music in the beginning. You might want to have a show that goes on a loop. You can use FreeShow to do that and still have other things going on the main screen as well for that particular one. So it's pretty flexible. I've explored some opportunities to use it in podcasting. So people that are like videographers and podcast producers, one of the things that I really like about FreeShow is the real-time flexibility, which is what is a lot of podcasters will use a program or a device called an ATEM mini switcher. I think you was talking about that. Is that what do you use that as well, Tony? I think we talked
Yes, I,
about that a
I
little
have.
bit, right?
Yes, I have the A10 Mini Pro
Yep. And so
switcher, and I only have
I've got
four
one.
ports, but there
Yeah.
are newer ones that have more
uh,
ports.
Absolutely.
So
I've got the same one. I've got an A10 Mini Pro ISO. So I got a small one with 4 ports. But one of the cool things about that is that you can send out um, a screen from your computer into the ATEM as another camera feed that is dynamic and it's showing different things and different content. You could even send out a green screen from FreeShow into the ATEM and allow that to be an overlay in the ATEM as well. So you can do quite a bit with it. Like I said, with podcasting, I love the idea of being able to have a setup like we have going on right now with two people side by side. I've seen the lower thirds flying in and out. You can do all that and have that happen in FreeShow as well, and even set up to where it'll record to or stream to any device that you want to. I like to use OBS. I've said that a number of times. It's another free program that pairs really well with FreeShow from a standpoint of being very robust, but also being completely free. And so those are some of the use cases I can think of, especially that are really useful in terms of sporting events, for scores, for podcasting, and just for general meetings and events. That's something that I would say it allows you to trump what you can do even with using PowerPoint or Keynote, with that flexibility that it comes with, and so many features that are involved with it.
You mentioned earlier in your just few comments about music. How was music being shared?
So with FreeShow, there's an audio tab, so you can literally have like for a podcast. Sometimes they'll or like I would treat a podcast in two different ways. Podcasts generally nowadays are considered video, but I consider a podcast to be the merge of radio and video, right? And so with with radio podcasting, or that traditional style where it's just audio only, you would often see or hear DJs and they would use like sound effects, like special sound effects. They would have a little touchpad to do that. You can make a touchpad in FreeShow with different sound effects you want to use and just simply click on it. It'll automatically trigger that sound effect to happen through your feed or send it to your soundboard or whatever you want to, seamlessly. And I love that particular feature of it and that facet. It also allows you to output audio if you have music playing or that you can play from your computer. You can send that out through FreeShow and still have slides that are showing separately and totally independent from the music. So you can control the music and make a playlist for that, and that can play continuously on a loop if you want to, while still showing different slides going on at the same time.
Okay. We have some audience questions coming up, so we're going to go to those right now.
Awesome.
We have Carissa Worthy. Do you find FreeShow to be sometimes mechanical?
Mechanical. I would probably say it's more logical than anything. I would say, but that's how I think. So in a way, I think I understand what Carissa's saying. That I would say potentially yes, but I think when I think about FreeShow, I think about it being more flexible than most programs. So compared to other programs that I've seen, it definitely is not. It's definitely more flexible than it is mechanical. When I think about mechanical, I think about it being a little stiff, a little rigid in terms of you have to do this, and do that. I think that FreeShow gives you so many options in so many ways you can do different things. It's more flexible than other programs that are in that same arena that are free or lower cost than ProPresenter.
Okay. Thank you, Carissa.
Yes, thank you.
Zachary Sorensen, do you know about CCLI?
Yes, yes. So CCLI is I'm gonna summarize it. This is the Garry version of CCLI. It is something that is important and valuable for music ministries specifically, I would say, and especially in the church world, where artists have kind of, I would say, tagged their songs, and so ministries can pay for their CCLI ID for individual songs, or they can pay a monthly fee to this network. And what that does is it allows them to have access to distribute and actually present those songs in their live space of worship. FreeShow, if you have a CCLI ID, you can literally plug that into any song or show that you create, and it'll automatically track that for you. You can pull out a log to show how many times you played any show that you have in FreeShow. So that's something that can be really beneficial and useful. It comes in handy, especially for larger houses of worship, and especially if you're trying to even stream and things like that. That's a big deal if you're streaming live worship music and using maybe some chords or some different injections. I'm not a musical person, so I'm not going to act like I've ever played it. I've never played an instrument in my life. So musicians use what's it called? Not musicians, but worship leaders and things like that. They'll have the multi-tracks. That's the word. So they'll have tracks that they'll play in between. to fill in the gaps of music, of instruments that they don't have. In those situations, I believe CCLI is really important as well, to make sure you're tracking that and keeping up with the usage that you have for your CCLI usage of that particular song. And it is trackable.
Okay.
Like I said, you can put that in the free show as well. So it's not something that's unique to Pro Presenter. I know Pro Presenter has a plugin called Song Select that allows you to pull in songs and it'll automatically tie that CCLI ID. You can still take that CCLI ID and put it into free show and it'll track it on that show as well that you make.
Okay. I want to ask a question about that. So
Sure.
if there is an artist who is you have purchased the CCLI and they are an artist that is a part of that, if
Mhm.
you play their let's just say, so Fred Hammond is a part of this, right? He
Okay.
he is up he has
Most likely.
given
Most
his
likely, yeah.
he's given his information for this. Could you
Yeah.
play his video song through Free Show?
Because you play his video song through free show. So you can play anything you want to play whenever you want to play it. The challenge is in terms of I'm trying to think
Copyright
about.
issue. That's what I
Yeah, the
want to know. Is
copyright issue
it
is going to come up when you're trying to distribute that and you don't have a right to distribute it in terms of you trying to distribute it on your website, on your live stream, let's say. Let's say you're trying to play it on Facebook or on YouTube or something like that, and you don't have the rights to it. Basically, what YouTube is going to do specifically, I can speak to that, I'm more familiar. They will not allow that video to make money and go towards you. They will allow it to make money and it'll go towards whoever the owner of that song is, for example, if that makes sense. And so it will basically it won't allow that video to be monetized by you, so the artist will be able to get the money for it. But I believe that the CCLI piece is more important for ministries that stream directly from their website or something like that. They may stream to YouTube as well, for sure, but it's giving them a right to have that to play that music and have that be publicly spread and visible and heard throughout from their platform and not directly from that artist. So
okay?
yes,
I,
you
I
can
just
play Fred Hammond. Yeah, go ahead.
so I just want to be clear that I understand. If you played
Mhm.
if through the CCLI, if you're playing it Fred Hammond through your website, he will get whatever he's entitled to, and it won't be taken down if it's the website as opposed to YouTube. Is that right?
Not that I know of. I don't know that it'll be taken down at all from your website. It's your
Oh,
website, so that's not going to be
right.
the case. It's just a matter of legitimacy, right? So it's an honor system to me more than anything. This is just the Gary version. So I'm not going to speak on behalf of CCLI, but it's an ID that you actually pay for ahead of time. So you actually
Okay.
paying into it. So when you make that payment, it automatically is distributing portions of that to Fred Hammond. If it's almost like a
Radio
it's
show?
best this yeah, you could say like a radio show or like how even like how songs are on Spotify right now or on Amazon Prime or whatever it is. And these artists, they don't get paid a certain dollar amount from like it's not like the sale of a CD anymore, right? It's literally monetized and broken up as pieces of the pie. So if your song got 4% of the subscriptions, plays that particular month, then you get 4% of the monetary income that comes from that. But CCLI is an ID that tracks the usage of it, like you said, maybe what you consider like a radio station where they actually have to track and they have mechanisms in place to do that. CCLI is designed to do that, but you're paying up front for it, from what I understand, and then you're just using that ID to show your congregation and those who may be watching from the outside to know, hey, this is something that we've got legitimate rights to use. So it's
Okay.
something you can put it on the show. You literally put it on the actual show, and then the cool thing about it, you don't have to. You can display it, I guess, if you don't want to. I guess you don't have to. But the cool thing about free show and pro presenter and all that stuff, they'll track how many times that particular show was played. And so if there is a request by the CCLI group to say, hey, did you use this song? And if so, let us know how many times you use it. They can do an audit and you can send that information really easily as a log.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. We want to
That's as
thank
much as I
Carissa.
know. Look, that's as much as I know.
We want to thank Carissa and Zachary Sorensen for their
Yeah.
questions, and we encourage you to continue to ask your questions before we run out of time. The next question is from Rabbi David Paskin. My temple just uses Google Slides. What are we missing out on?
That's a great question. And so I would say one of the biggest things you're missing out on is that real-time editing that you can have, and also built-in scriptures in the program that you're using. So Google Slides requires you to pre-make that content, which is great. And I think there's an element of preparation that's necessary. But excuse me, the limitations of it are very visible, right? In terms of it, it's a web-based program for one. It is something that you have to have access to the internet to be able to display and play. I guess you can download it and make it a PowerPoint or something like that if you want to. But I believe the customization to where how easily you can make your content in FreeShow using simple templates, and you can copy and paste a whole slew of notes or a whole list of song lyrics in terms of a song, and you can automatically have it customized into a breakout of an entire show without having to individually work on individual slides and go in and paste this slide, this 4 lines of the song here, and then go to the next slide and paste the next 4 lines there. You can paste it all together, and it'll automatically break it out for you and put you dictate how many lines you want per slide. So some users will say, I want 2 lines per slide for this song, but I'm pasting the whole thing in, and then FreeShow does its work. I was going to say does its magic, and it spits it out, and you have a whole song listed out. And you can format the template. You can add the background with the simple one drop, one click, or one drag of one item, and it'll automatically apply to every item in that show, every slide in that show. So I believe you're missing out on a level of convenience and something that's made for mass creation in terms of Google Slides are really good. I would say like kind of like PowerPoint or Keynote for an individual presentation by one person to maybe a small group in a boardroom or meeting room, where FreeShow is designed for a media team or a media person to support the needs of a larger space that aren't just reduced to just sending out one signal from one computer to one screen. It's designed to send one signal from one computer to multiple screens. And so with FreeShow, you can set up a way that you might have 2 screens in the front of your church and then one screen in the back, like a confidence monitor. The ones in the front will show, the regular slides, the scriptures, whatever it is that you pre-made or that you create. But the one in the back will show the current text for that slide that everybody sees, but it also can show the next slide text that's coming up for that speaker, or some slide notes that you can see. That feature and that functionality is there for PowerPoint, but PowerPoint is designed, if you're not the speaker and you don't have that computer right in front of you at the pulpit, then you're not going to be able to see those notes or that upcoming slide. FreeShow allows you to send out a different view of the same content. So you can literally do that and have a whole separate monitor for it, and it'll support that really easily.
What I know about Rabbi David Paskin is he's going to check it out, Gary. He's going to check it
Go
out
check it out. Yeah,
and
listen,
see
check
what
it out.
see what the difference is.
Definitely, definitely. It's worth checking out. It's worth checking out. You can go to my YouTube channel. You can go to Free Show's YouTube channel. You'll find all kinds of videos made by it's a very strong community of people that really want to equip the body of Christ. That's my heart, to equip the church. The one of the board members, he says the Big C Church all the time. So that's the goal, to empower the Big C Church.
So Zachary Sorensen from Warwick, Queensland, Australia is back, and he says, "Can you import lyrics from Song Select in Free Show?"
You cannot import lyrics from Song Select directly into FreeShow. You can import lyrics from ProPresenter into FreeShow. And it'll keep that metadata. It'll keep the text, and you would just add in your own backgrounds. You can import songs from the internet, so you don't necessarily need Song Select for your library to find your songs and your lyrics. You can just do a web search, and it'll automatically populate the lyrics for those songs automatically for you. So I'm gonna say no, that it's not directly from Song Select, but you have the same flexibility and functionality. It's just through a simple lyric web search, and it automatically populate those lyrics for you.
And Zach, I just wanted to tell you, Gary, that
Hmm.
Zachary is a part of our conversation with Tony Mobley team, but he also
Nice,
works with a young people's group in his ministry
nice,
in Australia. So he's probably going to check it out.
very cool.
So
I had a conversation
that's
with
another
somebody from
person.
New Zealand a while back.
Yeah, so he's probably going to check it out.
Very cool.
Please talk about your labs or sessions that you do on Friday.
So, well, I do free show Friday on Friday, and then I do in the lab or free show in the lab on Monday mornings, usually between 6 and 7 a.m. Eastern time. And so, the difference, free show Friday is designed to really speak to the needs of media leaders in a church setting. So you'll see those media leaders from all over the world join in and jump in, ask questions, give feedback. They're answering questions for each other in the midst of the chat and all that kind of stuff. But typically, what I'm doing is I'm literally demonstrating the answer real time. If I know the answer to their question, they say, "Hey, Gary, I'm running to the issue. How do I do this in free show? I was able to do this in the last program I was using, or I tried to do it and I couldn't figure it out." We'll literally do a real live demo, real time, just a simple response of what I think would be the best solution to that problem. And I'll share my screen and they can see exactly what I would do to walk through that particular problem as a consultant. And usually it equips and empowers them, and that's saved forever on YouTube, so people can always go back and look at that. But in the lab is a little bit different. And so in the lab is designed to really push free show to its limits. To be honest with you, I literally go in there and I go into it thinking of a problem to solve. So I'll go in thinking of how do I set up a podcast to automate itself to where this will always show up when I switch to this angle, kind of like what you're doing right now with the software that you have for this live stream, is that I want to be able to switch scenes, so to say. But when I switch a scene, I want it to pop up this lower third to show up. There's ways you can set up free show to do that. And so I go into the lab on those Monday mornings and I test out that theory and see how to make it work the best way that I can think of, and engage with the community who's joining in, and they're giving feedback and trying out new things and giving me feedback on some things and ways that they might approach that. And we test that out as well. And it may not have anything to do with a house of worship as much as it has to do with trying to master this software in a way that pushes it to its limits. And then in the midst of doing that, it doesn't fall on deaf ears because the whole community gets to see and hear it, including the developer himself. And he'll often comment and say, "Hey, I saw what you're trying to do. I just made an update to fix if I did run into a problem. Oftentimes it's not a problem with it, but if there's a problem I run into, there's an experience I had earlier this month, and he said, "Hey, I see what that issue was, and we fixed it, so you'll be able to do that without a problem now." Right. And so a very responsive community is something that you don't get to have that with many programs. I've never had anybody from PowerPoint reach out to me and say, "Hey, I know that you had that problem. We just fixed it, and here's the update for it." Right? I've never had that personally. So maybe you guys are much more, you got more clout than I do. But that kind of thing is something that goes a long way when you're trying to use this intensively. And whenever you're in a media team, no matter where it is, if it's an event, a live event, whether it's a church meeting, a virtual meeting, whatever it is, there's always a level of pressure that you need this particular program or software to perform. And it has to work, right? You don't want it to fold or bend on you. And any of my hardware, my computers and my cameras and things like that, my microphones, it's the same way. I don't want them to give out on me in the middle of me using them in the way they're supposed to be used. And so Free Show has a strong community of people that do the same thing. They're constantly pushing the software in I would say there has not been a month that has gone by that there's not been a free show update of some sort. And that's just because the community is speaking and submitting requests and submitting ideas, enhancements, ideas, and things like that, or bugs even. If they see something wrong, they'll submit it and it gets fixed. I would say probably every other week or so, you're going to see a new update of something that is fixed and enhanced in this program. And so over the course of this past year that I've been using it, a little bit over a year now, it has transformed leaps and bounds over what it was when I started. And that's something that speaks a lot to that community of people willing to support it and see this program really take off and be powerful for anybody that wants to use it, but specifically for the church in a real way. And so I'm excited about that. I love to see that progress.
I really want to ask you. I'm sure that you had multiple conversations with the developer,
Mhm.
and Free Show seems like it's really, really powerful. It's really a great tool. And I
Yeah.
was wondering, have you had the chance to ask the developer why he created Free Show? Because I mean, it's it's a blessing to those of
Yeah,
us who will try to use
absolutely.
it and engage in it. But I was just curious if he ever shared with you why he created it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I actually got to interview him on my channel, so you can go and see the full interview on Gary B. Jr. or Free Show with Gary B. Jr. And I think my tag on YouTube is the Gary B. Jr. or something like that. And so, but I got to sit down with him on a virtual meeting like this, and we got to talk about that. And I asked him, I was like, how'd you come up with this idea? And he said, believe it or not, he was actually he was a pro presenter user, and this is at the early age of 17 for him, which was not too long ago. It's about 5 years ago now, and he wanted to use um, presentation software as the media team at a camp that he was going to, a youth camp. And he couldn't take ProPresenter because you had to pay for ProPresenter by the seat. And so he left that computer with ProPresenter at the church, and he used another computer, and he downloaded some other software that was supposed to be easy to use and still allow you to put up your lyrics and your scriptures and things like that while he was at this youth camp. Well, he said when he got there, he found out this program was not so easy, even though easy was in the name. And that was something that was really difficult for him to process. And so he said he got back home and he decided to make his own program to resolve that so that people could be able to use uh, the, uh, the same level of flexibility and control of ProPresenter no matter where they were at, right? So completely free. And so when he established what FreeShow was as an organization, as a nonprofit, as an open source program, one of the things that was in his heart is that it would be free forever. And so that's something that's in the bylaws. It's built in that this is a program that's going to always be free. And that's hard to believe and to fathom, but that's his heart. His heart is to really make it free and make it available, to have the flexibility that he didn't have when he went to that youth camp. But he had it when he was at church, but he couldn't take that with him because the church needed it. And so now he can do that. And he uses FreeShow at his church now. So that's something that it's an unbelievable story. Like I said, he goes into great depth, and it's fun to hear him talk and share his story. But he can share it a lot better than I can. But that's the Gary version of his story.
We've run out of time, and I had
Yeah.
so many more questions personally that I wanted to ask you. Um, and we're down to the last question. So the last question is, you're speaking to the world. What do you want the world to know?
Oh boy. I want the world to know that Free Show is an excellent program for anybody to use. And if you need help understanding how to use it, there is a lot of support out there to support that. I'm one of those ambassadors and evangelists, as Tony calls it, to help spread the news of how powerful this program is for you to use. And I can guarantee you that you won't find a program that's more powerful at the cost that this is in terms of it being completely free. You won't find a better program than Free Show to use.
Thank you, Gary B. Jr. We got to have you back soon, and
I love it. I would love it.
I'll be in touch. You can watch Conversation with Tony Mobley on YouTube or my website, conversationwithtonymobley.com. Conversation with Tony Mobley is produced by Cloudlock Lopez Waterman, our current team, Laura Thompson, Zachary Sorensen, Mickey McAture. Thank you, sir. Thank you, team. Thank you, Mimo Live. Thank you, Zoom, for making this broadcast possible. We have conversations with real people. Stay tuned for new episodes and great conversations. We ask that you go back and look at over 4 years of conversations on Conversation with Tony Mobley. We hope that you will find something that will be helpful or useful for you. Conversations with Tony Mobley would like to thank Mr. Gary B. Jr. for being a part of our conversation today, for doing the work you do, and for being the person who you are. Next week, we're going to have Mr. Mitchell Hill. He shares news about his 100 episode show that will be coming this coming Sunday, and we'll have him on next Wednesday. Please feel free to support Conversation with Tony Mobley by volunteering or donating to keep Conversations with Tony Mobley running. You can donate on our website. We also ask that you please like, subscribe, and comment. And I got that from Gary. And comment. We want to keep getting better. So please like, subscribe, and comment on Conversation with Tony Mobley on YouTube. And that's it for tonight. We want to thank Gary again for being with us. We ask that you all take care, and hopefully this information was beneficial and helpful. Take care. God bless you. See you soon. Bye-bye.